Although the terms science fiction movies and science fact seem contradictory, they are actually more similar than we might imagine. Science fiction writers and directors draw inspiration and advice from real science. No matter how good the imagination and the spirit of creativity are, they must be grounded in reality, and this applies to anything, but it is especially close to scientific cinema, which seems to us to be based on wild theories and futures that are very strange and are also very far from reality. But the truth is that anything considered science fiction decades ago is true now, and anything fiction now may seem to be the basis of life for future generations. Who knows? Interstellar is about the journey of a team of explorers in search of a new home for the human race after the Earth was exposed to food shortages all over the world and using a newly discovered wormhole in remote areas. From our solar system, a number of astronauts have been able to go where no human has gone before, a planet that may have the right environment to sustain human life. Reach is considered one of Denis Villeneuve's best films and also among his most scientifically accurate. The film revolves around linguistics professor Louise Banks, who leads a team of investigators as giant spaceships land in 12 locations around the world. Banks and their crew must race against time to find a way to communicate with extraterrestrial visitors in the hopes of saving humanity. Scientifically accurate in this movie is not the aliens' idea, but rather the accuracy in their language and the way Professor Louise tries to communicate with them. Not only did they write an entirely new alien language for the movie, but they also came up with an original writing system dedicated to the movie. They have consulted many linguists and even phonetics experts to ensure that a foreign language is a language that makes sense. The contrasting interactions between the protagonist and the aliens in the movie are realistic and impressive, precisely because of all the hard work that went into preparing for those scenes. Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey follows a series of strange encounters between humans and UFOs, and the discovery of one of them leads to a journey to Jupiter using the conscious computer HAL. After its release, the movie wowed the scientific community in front of regular viewers as every detail in the movie was carefully crafted with scientific precision in mind, and Kubrick did his best to make sure his movie would last for years to come. Kubrick and co-writer Arthur C. Clarke, author of the short story The Sentinel that inspired the film, studied space carefully to get the right details that many space movies overlook, including what real space looks like, the effect of silence, astronaut food, the relative size of the spacecraft and time essential for the trip to Jupiter, and more. The film also includes one of the most realistic depictions of artificial intelligence. Specifically, the HAL 9000, whose transformation from a helpful and friendly computer into a ruthless space computer is entirely plausible and possible to this day, makes Kubrick one of the first to recognize the dangers of AI and gives us a warning to realize the relationship between humans and AI before it's too late. The Martian is a film about a derailed space exploration mission leaving lone astronaut Mark Watney to die on Mars, and his attempts to create the conditions for his survival. No other movie has been able to replicate what the movie has accomplished and has been heralded as the most scientifically accurate in Hollywood history. The film is based on the novel of the same name by Andy Weir. Both the film and the novel have been praised for their ability to capture the very real and human elements of space travel. Every detail from crew duties and first team standings to champion Mark Watney's survival strategies were clever and most importantly scientifically correct. The film's production team sought as much scientific accuracy as possible, as did the novel's author. The production designer went to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory to study spacesuits and read NASA blueprints, and eventually all the actors and staff met several of the astronauts, staying with them for hours to observe. NASA has confirmed 9 specific real-world technologies found in the film, and they include Mark Watney's residence, the vegetable garden where Mark grows potatoes, and the ionic pulse engine he uses. Even a Mars suit is different from a typical astronaut's suit, but is based on the modern concepts and technologies that NASA is working on today. Set in the near future, lonely writer Theodore develops an unfamiliar love affair with an operating system designed to meet his every need. While the idea of conscious artificial intelligence is nothing new in the realm of science fiction, Jones' love story and his unique vision of a technology-rich future are now closer than we think, and some of it is already there. What made the film stand up to science fiction is that it is realistic and represents tomorrow's technology. Set in what we can appreciate at least a decade in the future, the movie presents a future in which Siri, the Xbox Kinect motion sensor, and Google Glass are no longer just new technologies, but technology is as ubiquitous as the mouse is today. For example, Theodore primarily interacts with his computer via a wireless earpiece that allows him to get and respond to updates at opportune moments. And we're already moving in that direction with Google Glass 2 using an optional earpiece for exactly that purpose. Voice dictation commands are available on just about any consumer gadget we can buy today, but since we're not used to them, we still rely primarily on keyboards to enter text. In the movie, he uses all his dictation tools to work, write email, and even write awkward late-night text messages. The film won praise from scholars such as Ray Kurzweil, a famous computer scientist, inventor and futurist, who said of the film, Ex Machina is considered one of the most accurate science fiction films of the decade. The main plot of the film revolves around the selection of a young programmer to participate in a pioneering experiment in artificial intelligence by evaluating the human traits of a highly advanced human artificial intelligence and adding human emotions to it. This idea is based entirely on a real concept that has been used in the scientific community since the 1950s called the Turing test. British mathematician Alan Turing devised the Turing test to determine whether a machine experiences a sense of consciousness comparable to a human. Nathan, the maker of artificial intelligence, applies the test by introducing his female robotic creation, Ava, to his new employee and setting up a series of social encounters between them. What makes us as viewers wonder, is it still a machine? Or are we witnessing something as alive and self-aware as any human being? The film plays with the idea of singularity, a term coined by Ray Kurzweil, director of engineering at Google, to refer to the moment when humans and machines meet. Kurzweil predicted that this would happen in less than 15 years. However, Director Garland expects a longer period of time before we see an AI like Ava, but he continues, "But we're getting close to a point where the machines are ready to tell us, 'Please don't shut me down.' They'll have the power to want something, feel things." The goal of the original Turing test was to determine if computers could be successful in showing human intelligence or emotions not unlike humans, but Ex Machina takes the concept to very new heights. Ava was not only annoyingly capable of showing human emotions, but also manipulative and cunning. In fact, no computer has ever passed the Turing test in real life, but it's not too hard to imagine that something like Ava could come in the near future, scientists say. Minority Report is based on the novel by Philip K. Dick, is set in a dystopian future where the police predict crimes before they happen and arrest the perpetrators before they break the law. The film included other technologies such as eye scanners that can identify people, government records that match a person's biometrics with their personal information, virtual reality simulators, heat-sensing drones, and many other technologies that currently exist, some of which we will present in the following paragraphs. For example, John, the hero, was able to control his home completely through his voice, and indeed home automation is common these days, and it has also turned into a thriving business. In fact, now the popular Amazon Echo and Google Home can be linked with other devices to act as a kind of central control of the home. They can play music, turn lights on and off, raise the temperature, or even lock the doors. As the movie foretold the existence of driverless cars, one of the most memorable scenes is John trying to escape by crossing a highway full of self-driving cars with glass domes. Indeed, Google has experimented, some successful, some unsuccessful, with self-driving cars, so that chase scene is not far from our reality now. One of the most accurate real-world applications of the apocalypse, a theme often used in cinema, Deep Impact, is about a comet hurtling towards Earth, threatening the end of all human life. In a 2014 interview with BuzzFeed, scientist Neil deGrasse Tyson explained how the film was based on scientific facts and pictures of a potential and possible case of how we would deal with a guilty attack if it did. In the film, a large part of the comet crashes into the ocean, which Tyson thinks the movie was correct. Most of the Earth's surface is water, so chances are high, if we're attacked by a comet, it's going to happen in the water. Tyson didn't mention any science errors in the movie, saying instead simply that the movie contains really good science, noting that the location of the asteroid impact is very plausible and that the scenes of using grappling hooks in space provide realistic portrayal in the event the astronauts had to land on the culprit.